Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers. Welcome to another edition of Very Sky Ridley's video blog. I'm your San Juan Island prepper. We're here today to talk about prepping for the poor and prepping for the financially strapped or for the noobs. Now, some of you have to think prepping might be expensive. Excuse me, I need to turn that off so you guys don't hear bink every 2 minutes for my email. This is the business side of being a prepper. So, first I got a thing about the radio guys emailing me. The radio guys are just telling me they got a new video up for radios. Scanner programming, that might be actually interesting to watch later, probably about 2 or 3 hours long. But anyways, I wanted to say that Zoe won't be in for a while. I don't think she's coming back either. I think she shared her fortune with us with the liquor and then disappeared. So I don't know what's going to happen for the future. So Higgins knows we're doing a video. So let's just get down to it first. Okay, since we don't have any comments this morning and no viewers, I'm going to go and post in the comments for you all. Do not buy anything off this list. This is a model or a model or an example for preppers. Okay, prepping. So for some of you out there, one of the things Higgins was really interested in was radios. So Higgins turned around and he's testing out the cheapest ham radios without a license, which, by the way, I just, yeah. So basically, I'm going to go over to the preppers list here on Amazon. It's public. Anyone can look at it. Don't buy anything for it. Basically, what it is it's a list of stuff from it's a list of stuff. So just to let you guys know, it's a list of everything pretty much. A list for everything and everybody. So when you do this, and that'll help you. Now, a lot of people say, well, what do I do? How do I prioritize? Prioritize first, shelter. If you know your house is paid for, you worried about it, save some money aside for rent. If they'll say you lose your job or something. But if you have a secure job and everything, your shelter shouldn't be the thing you worry about the most because your shelter is probably secured, which means second list, food. Food, and third is water. Food and water. That's not just sitting there taking an account. You also got to sit there and take an account for your furry friends, your fur babies. Remember, you got to take those into account. So, water and food. Now, people say to me, how do I get food? How do I stock food? How do I do it? Simple. First up, you don't buy the bucket stuff, you don't buy the tasty meals in a bucket, or as Fanny and I've discussed it, more likely the disgusting food in a bucket. No, you buy what you usually buy. Just put away something. But you guys sit there and say, but Rita, I want to put away stuff, but it's so expensive. Let's put it this way. I'm going to go down the list, okay, of food items. It's in the preppers list now, okay? I also threw in the preppers list for Amazon gift cards. So if anyone wants to donate $25 to $2,000, jokingly aside, you can actually do whatever you want. And you can send us a gift card, which will go to testing out prepping stuff that you might or might not think that you might want to get. Certain items I've already said. Now, I'm not going to even go down the list. Some of this stuff says going up and going down in price. I have a program that's telling me. Currently, sugar went up, for example. Dry yeast went up again. Maple syrup went through the roof. Napoleon cubes went through the roof. Batteries are getting harder and harder to acquire. I just looked for some batteries. Apparently, they're like, we cannot send you batteries. Well, it costs me like $40 a month in batteries or more. So, eventually you might just want to change battery cut and get more batteries for less. So, certain items have went up and down in price. Your toiletries, remember I said yesterday, you need to make sure you stay hygienically clean. Otherwise, you might stink and get diseases for not bathing for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Next up on, that means shaving cream, body wash, bar soap. That's going up. The razors are getting harder and harder. That's why I said always look at cheaper disposable razors that you can afford in the bag and bulk them. Keep it there. If you can get a deal on single blades, do it. They might not feel good. Get deals on double blades, triple blades, quad blades, 5 blades, 6 blades, even the legendary 7 blade. Yeah, there is a 7. I think it's called Norky or something. One of those companies. They make 7 blade. You can also get the old fashioned straight edge where you could shave too if you know what you're doing. That's something that's on the list too. Letting you know, acetaminophen, Tylenol, and naproxen's going up. So get your medicine. Fishing lures, by the way, fishing lures are going up. They're skyrocketing. So people are now realizing fishing lures are in the prepping kit. So you got to go through that. I know Zoe the other day was like, man, it must be boring going through this. No, not really. Certain things like fly rod kits and Tenkara fly rods are the same. Another thing that's going up in price I just noticed is the kits or just this huge canning pots. And I'm talking about the giant pots. I mean, we're talking the mega pots that you can cook a king crab in or a snow crab. Just put the whole pot crab in there. You know how big those king crab are. They have pots that can cook them too. So might take up like 5 feet, 6 feet with, I don't even know, those giant pots. I think, I heard rumors that someone said to basically get and boil king crab, right? The whole crab. You need basically, and some say it barely fits, but you need a one of those 55-gallon drums, the big drums, and it's or you make a drum barrel, like a pot, a custom pot that's the size of a 55-gallon, and you just pop it in there. Water filtration is must. If you can't buy water filtration systems, you're going to want to buy bottled water. So that's one of your essentials besides food. So we're going to get down to the bottom here in a second. We're just looking. The other things I would recommend for a aid kit, those they're going up somewhat. Books are going up in price a bit. See, I'm looking at these daily for you so you guys know. Ramen went up in price from $6 to $13 for 24. So think about that. Your basic food supplies, toilet paper is going up too again. So think about that. Another thing that went up in food is Denny Moore stew. It keeps raising. I know Chris last night. Feel sorry for Chris because he was talking about something and he disappeared. Well, we all disappear. I'm gonna fucking find out what this fucking. So apparently this wheel won't work anymore. Yeah. And now, I don't even know why the hell it keeps popping off. So the wheel popped off, right? We'll get back to pricing. As I see, this thing keeps popping off. I don't know why. Can't even get it. So anyways, there we go. Will this hold? Hopefully it'll hold. There, hopefully. So basically, Denny Moore stew went up again in price. Now that means that some people say, well, what about those little beanie weenies? They went up in price. Van Camp pork and beans went up in price big time. Beans are beanie weenies with the little wieners in them. They're going up in price. I haven't looked up sardines yet. We might just look at that today. People say, well, what if we need a protein to be sardines? Well, let me put it to you this way. If you can stomach sardines, get them. As Higgins, he likes his Kipper snacks and sardines. So technically it depends. I think he's got like 10, 12 cases. Then again, Higgins believes 3-year-old tuna fish sandwiches work. I know if Zoe was here, she'd be like, ew. See, Higgins knows if he comes on, he's going to be poking the polar bear. So I'm still looking at prices. So beans, baked beans, pork and beans. Let's just go beans in general up in price. Certain items that are luxury item is down in price. If you look at certain things, decks of cards, water. Oh, look at this. The water went up in price again. Water went up in price. I mean, literally, bottled water is skyrocketing. People know something's coming. And this is the true problem we have in the country. I mean, look at this. $30 for 24. $30 for 12. And some people say, well, can I find a all batteried, AA batteried electric shaver? Yes, I put them in the thing for you guys. As long as you got the batteries by the box, throw in a couple AA's and shave your face. If you can't find it, those are good for traveling because all you have to do is change the heads up, buy a couple extra sets, and you're good for 3 years. The razor goes away. Make sure you just spend like $40 more, get another one, put some batteries in it. There is Norelco's, Remington's, Bronze, Panasonics. They all take little batteries, The other ones you can get dirt cheap are like $15. I hear they're pretty good, not good, no one knows. So another thing you want to cash in on is the smoker. You want to make sure that the smokers can be used and you can smoke your meats. Meat's going to be very expensive, so you want your smoked meats. Then coffee, and then cookware. So, cast iron cookware. That is a must if you want to cook bread. But I'm only looking at the possibility if there's a power outage, you might want to use a camp stove. If the power isn't out and something else happens, food shortages, at least your apartment. At least your Look at that. At least your apartment or your home will still have electric unless the electric grid goes out. Unless there's a banking collapse and they turn the power off. So remember that. Second is coffee. Make sure you get your coffee because currently I'm looking at coffee. Coffee is tripling right now in price. Some coffee is even quadrupled. So I want you to pay attention. And some coffee is running out. When one coffee runs out at triple the price, and you're having it shipped from Amazon, and then you're paying more money for another coffee, we're only 50% on the list. So, canned meats, again, canned meats are getting harder and harder to get. Another thing is to get your buckets of rice, beans, lentils when you can. And lentils and beans, because it's a bean and it's a long shelf life, people know they can use beans for protein. Beans are going through the roof. Extra tea, little extra emergency snacking packs like those little crackers, So basically, for example, crackers and cheese could be good. The cheese can be a little light protein for you. Keep you hydrated with a little extra salt. Unfortunately, they're going through the roof. Snacks are going through the roof. Milk, evaporated and condensed milk has already doubled. Tripled, actually. Mac and cheese is going up in price. Some mac and cheese is already quadrupled. So just remember, mac and cheese is a comfort food unless you get the regular crappy crap. Coffee pots that run on propane or percolators are a must if you have power outage. That's the only reason why I put those in there in case of a power failure and you need to make your morning coffee. Dog food's a must if you're prepping and you're prepping for a out of food scenario. Beef jerky, beef sticks, etc., etc., etc. Next on the list is fishing poles. Like I said, fishing products are going up. People are actually buying 4, 5, 6 poles at a time, raising the price and buying them up cheap because they know they can basically either resell them later or use them for their own prepping. Nuts are going up in price too, double or even triple price because nuts are going up in price because people are using them as a source of fiber and protein. Think of it. Everything that I'm telling you is running out is because you guys are slow. Police scanners, those are not must. If you can only have one radio that could pick up other things, I'd carry a World Band too. I'd also carry other things. So, nuts. I like cashews, peanuts. The Dutch oven was going to be for those little Hormel completes Salisbury steak dinners. Problem is with Salisbury steak, if the power is completely out and you have that dry Salisbury steak meal, it ain't gonna work. Another thing I just got an email on is another canned beef, Keystone, and other canned chickens and beef has gone up in price. You're looking at almost $100 or more a can for half a case, which is 12. Other stuff is going sold out because everyone's using that as an option. So just think about it. Some things are sold out. That sold out. That sold out. That went up in price. That's up in price. That's raised in price. This is stuff that's sold out. So some of the stuff people say to me, "Oh, I'd like to buy some spam." So then they email me. For example, they email me, and then they say to me, "Oh, I was gonna order some spam, but the wait's like December." I mean, literally, it's not even September, and yet some of them are saying the end of September or early October. I mean, literally, they're like, "Oh, you want to buy this? We'll give it to you," But you're waiting a month. You're waiting 2 months. You're waiting 3 months. Mac and cheese went up. Ramen's gone up. I mean, these are the staples for poor people. Think about it. If you can't even buy ramen, then there's no way for you to survive because this is the powdered milk and powdered butter has gone up in price again. Emergency backup sources, you can use certain dehydrated foods if you get them in dehydrated buckets. Another thing you could use is the food buckets are your last resorts, and most of those are always in stock because no one wants to do it. They want to get everything else dehydrated. If Fanny was here, Fanny would tell us. By the way, I haven't checked the comments. I don't know. Is Higgins in? Is he poking the bear? So, anyways, the food buckets are only used as an emergency. There's the emergency dehydrated stuff like eggs and stuff. Those used as an emergency or sparingly too. Otherwise, keep them sealed. Um, Double belt sleeping bags would come in handy for staying warm. Um, Swiss Army knives I put in there are used for tools. Um, a bug out bag is a eternal frame. Now, if there's a natural disaster, you're in Tornado Valley or something, and you have a trailer or you have something that as a backup, and you're in Tornadoville, you might want to have an emergency place. Keep your emergency staples in some case tornado or something big happens. And if you do lose your home, that is where I tell you to look into the canvas tents. They'll help you until you rebuild. I put in 3-season, 4-season tents depending on how much you want to pay. Um, I put in lanterns. Uh, Lanterns are up and down. Kerosene is currently going for $60 for a 5-gallon bucket. So I found that out. So if you need to get kerosene lanterns will work, but you're paying a lot for kerosene. Just be careful, it's highly flammable. Cook stoves, unless you go through the right places for the cook stoves or camping stoves, you either have propane, which if you find a propane one, bless your heart. If you can't, you're stuck with Coleman, white gas, or unleaded gas. Then you're going to basically be then you have the instant Coleman propane stoves, just depending. I recommend the Arcturus military wool blankets. You get 4 of those for one person. It'll be nice and toasty for coldness matches. Um, and then, Bucket Foods is on the bottom. And that's it. Then the other options besides the radios is a TV. Now, Higgins and I have been doing some research. We might have found a few TVs that are running on AA batteries. So you might have a portable TV, you can actually use for AA batteries. So we're looking at that as an option for you all. So for preppers out there that are new, do what you can. Put away some food every week if you go shopping weekly. If it's monthly, put away at least a week or 2 weeks of food at the time. So, So Zoe messaged me saying she might not be back on Instagram ever. So there you go. And so Higgins, of course, ain't emailed yet either. So I guess poking the bear is out today. So jewelry awards, what for what? So, you know, you just got to see all these lawsuits lined up. All right, so we don't need to hear all about this stuff, okay? So, for you preppers out there who, you know, is here and you're watching this, just remember you can live on a budget. That's what Higgins is doing. Higgins has not much money. He's living on gift cards family gives him. So, because of that, he's doing well. If you really need to get some preppers tools, I highly recommend checking out the library. I just got this. So, I'm going to sit down here, you know. So, you know. So, this is all you need to become an amateur radio thing. Level 3, this is the technician level. So, this is going to teach me, this is a library book, ham radio. Yes. See? Okay, so you see this? This is going to help me get my license for ham radio. You guys could sit there and say, oh, that sounds boring. Maybe. But if I go through this, hmm. Look at this. This is interesting. See, when you're using radios, so it says here, this tells you exactly what bands you can use for your. So basically, if you go for your class technicians, privileges all above 50 megahertz and limited HF privileges. What's an HF, anyways? Does anyone know what an HF is? I'll have to look it up. What's an HF? Anyways, and then it says here Mm. Interesting. Hmm. Don't poke the bear, right? So, anyways, this is an interesting. Wow. So this is going to be really good for helping with ham radio. A lot of people say, "Oh, why should you do it?" Because it is for ham radio. Um, so let me just tell you what's going on, okay? Higgins and I were talking earlier about radios. He's going to be testing out the Bofang for us, so we're going to know. He's going to actually jailbreak it, so it can actually. He wants to transmit it. Nobody Kelly doesn't get in trouble from the FCC, so that's his job. Let him do it. Me, on the other hand, we're looking at the Bofang too, but I'm not looking at just one. I'm looking at an entire 6-pack. Okay, I want 6 Bofangs on my desk charging, so I can rotate them out, and then I won't have to worry. I can actually program them through Chirp, which is part of the programming. This is why I say to you guys, when you prep well. Now you can sit there and say, what do you mean? Simple. Prepping means as prepping does. So when you prep for knowing the safety and sanity if something happens. Now the Bofang, of course, we're testing out. I just found another website with radios, which means we got a lot to test this to do for this preppers channel. We want to make sure that you are covered on all radio frequencies from FRS, Family Radio Service. Tiny, isn't it? Two, they like little kid walkie talkies, but they do work for about a mile. Two, GSRM. I have my license, Chloe's getting hers. Then we can use the longer thing. Apparently, Midland contacted me and said, and I quote, that if I go with a up to a 50 watt, I could use the repeaters without even breaking a sweat. I could probably use the repeaters here and bounce off into Anacortes and repeat that all the way to uh, Chloe in Walmart. As long as she's using the what is it, the 5 watt going back. So as long as I'm picking up the repeaters and using the repeaters, I can actually, if it is easy to fine tune the GSRM, I could probably hit the repeaters to continue. They say with obstructions, it's like 75. Without obstruction, 75 miles. So we'll find out. But as a prepper, prepping does cost money. So a lot of people need to start somewhere. Grab 6 or 8 cases of ramen to start. Grab several buckets of beans and several buckets of rice, and just start there and work your way up, because it's going to get rough soon. And if you don't have food, you're going to be in trouble. Mm-hmm. Don't take anything for advantage either. And that is why you guys need to prep like your life depends on it. Because frankly, when it happens, it happens. So, for you poor people out there, there's a lot of things I can do. I can put a lot more done on the website, so I can do more. But you guys got the basics of everything. The other thing you might want to prep from time to time is to restock your garbage bags and a few other items. And then go from there. And, just remember, a lot of stores are screwing people over it already when it comes to um, grocery foods like beef. So you got to make sure you're not going to be paying $50 for a pound of beef next year. You got to make sure you get your beef now and you smoke it. Or you put it in the freezer. I'd smoke it because smoked meat's a lot better than freezer burnt meat too. So it just depends. You get plenty of Ziploc bags. That's one of the prepping tools. Things are going through the roof. Let me just tell you a story, okay? If you don't prep or prepare to prep, you're going to be the one going hungry. Think about it. You're going hungry. Is that what you want? No? No, it isn't. There you go. From the bottom of my heart, keep prepping. Now you say, well, how do I start it? Simple. Make a list. Print my list out. Take your list, click on the links, add it to your own shopping cart, buy it for yourself. Thing is, if you don't see something on there, you can always ask me about it. Look. I don't need to hold your hand when you, quote unquote, prep. Point being is, you, the American people, need to realize, are you going to be paying $2 per can of Spam? Or are you going to be paying $10 or more for a can of Spam? This could be $50 next year because of $40, because meat's getting hard. So it's pork. I didn't know that. See, I didn't know that. I learned something new. But there you go. You see, are you going to? See, my buddy, he's happy. Are you going to go? Or are you going to starve? Think about it. Think about it. All these people running around, but they don't even figure out the basics. And then when the preppers come in and try to help you, prices go up. Then you say, "Oh, I can't do this." That's where you put a little more money away to keep stuff that you put away for emergency supplies only. Look. Look at this one. Unless your water's contaminated, which, by the way, didn't I say I was going to check on sardines for you? Let's go look at sardine prices real quick. Yeah, sardines and kippered snacks. That's something I'd like to know. Sardines. So, 12 cans of sardines currently. I should put some sardines in there for you guys if you like sardines. Some people say, can you put it in the list? Chloe likes sardines. She also likes anchovies. So I'm going to put this in for her because, frankly, I'm going to put some sardines in for you guys so you guys can actually be happy that on the shipping list today is sardines. It seems sardines, you know, I had olive oil once. I think I had sardines in I can't remember what that company was in hot sauce. So, I'm going, I have several tabs open. There you go. Sardines and hot sauce. Okay, so this is sardines and water. So it's just basically, sardines and water. So I'm going to add that to the list for you guys. The list is in the thingy. So you guys better get some sardines if you eat them because, frankly, sardines are going to go up soon. Right now, they look pretty affordable. Sardines in a lightly smoked. See, lightly smoked sardines. Mm-hmm. See, Chloe likes anchovies, so while we're doing the preppers list, we're gonna, but she'd probably eat them before she frickin' gluten free sardines and oil. All right, well here you go, gluten free. So gluten people. Basically, that's that on the sardines. So canned sardines is something that you can get that won't cost you an arm and a leg, and you won't be paying $80 for half a case of that. Also, I will look into canned tuna as well. Higgins was saying something about tuna. I will check tuna for you today, guys. Tuna is something you can't stockpile. Apparently, Higgins has been eating 3-year-old tuna. He's got you know, Mediterranean style sardines, jalapeno peppered sardines. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Let me see. Is those available? I'd put that on the list for Chloe. My husband loved jalapeno peppered sardines. Mm hmm. That's available too. See? Did it cracked pepper? Here we go. Nah, I went into my birthday list by mistake. No, I'll just move that one later. And olive oil, we'll just put that in the list. So, and then kippered snacks and then anchovies. I think Chloe likes anchovies. She buys smoked anchovies, so let her have her smoked anchovies. Oh, and another thing you might want to prepare for if you have it is, let me just tell you for the poor people watching this and the noobs, clam chowder with extra smoked clams. You get a hold of smoked clams, it's affordable, get it. And then throw the extra clams and drain the clam juice out and then throw the clam meat in the soup. Mm-hmm. There's sardines and tomato sauce too, by the way. That's what the last one. And I'm doing anchovies and um, anchovies and you know, you know, anchovy fillets. There we go. See. Yep. So there you go. Flat filleted anchovies right there. So that works. There you go. And some of you say, well, uh, why do you choose some of these foods? Well, one on the list is if you have food stamps, you can actually buy some, sample it, don't like it, eat the rest, and you still have food. And then if you like something, you can buy it again. You can just use your food stamps if you have it. So this is where you noobs and you people on food stamps. So next up is smoked clams. Yeah, so I'm adding a couple items to the list. So Pack of 12 baby pearl smoked clams, smoked baby pearl clams, baby clam smoked, smoked clams. This is something that you guys can eat if you get hungry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we will do kipper snacks shortly. But I want you guys to realize that the smoked clams will help. You can also do oysters if you like oysters. I think it's scallops that I like. Smoked scallops. That's something that's really tasty too. So I'm gonna look that up real quick too because those are good alternatives. Because once things get so bad, people might turn to fish, and fish might go up in price too. So you got to prepare now for if beef and chicken and pork go up in price because they can't sustain the animals because of your livestock. Then you need. Uh, Here you go, smoked scallops. Wow. Mm-hmm. And these aren't smoked, but you can find some. You can get scallops, Chloe got. Those are pretty tasty, actually. Got fresh scallops on the fish market. Yeah, we have a fish market here. So, anyways, all right. So now we want kippered snacks. Higgins loves kipper snacks. Yeah. So Uncle Donnie did the King Oscars. By the way, that's what he lived on. Bought more beer than anything in the world, I tell you. There we go. So there we go. The list should be complete for right now with kippered snacks and sardines. I know my sister Melissa does not like fish, but you know what, sis? We're watching this. Sorry. This is for the people that like to eat sardines and anchovies, kippered snacks, clams, and scallops. Now, some people say, well, what about those baby shrimp? Well, I'll look up that next for you guys because, baby shrimp can be done too. Or you can get canned smoked shrimp. If there is a smoked kippered snack, then you know damn good and well there's probably smoked shrimp too. Reason for it is because you need to prep. So, these are ideas that Higgins and I talked about over the phone. We're talking about his stuff. Oh, and just to look it up, I will put in canned chicken and canned tuna too. We don't want you guys to think you're going fine and fancy with just kippered stuff. Some people like tuna, so we'll add tuna, and we'll add um, kippered snacks to the list that you're looking at in the live chat. The live chat has the list. Go over it. If there's something I'm missing, throw it in the comments below. I know I missed um, that other thing. So let's just go with canned smoked shrimp. I don't know. Oh, and some people say salmon's pretty cheap. So if you can't find these smoked oysters, okay, oysters are good smoked. Mm-hmm. You get oysters too if you like smoked oysters. We'll add those. And yeah, so we're gonna. All right, so I just found oysters and crab meat, so you can use those as a substitute if you can't find canned meat. This is why you got to get it before the prices go through the roof. Once people realized sardines, mackerel fillets, kippered snacks go through the roof, then me, I'm not a big fish fan, but crab and scallops and stuff I'll eat. I'm just saying, it's all right. So another thing you want to look into is you can do salmon if you wish. I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so tuna and canned chicken. In water or in oil. And you can do albacore too if you need to. I would recommend getting um, whatever skipjack too. You know, bumblebee, and mostly it's uh, uh, in water. So water's good. Some people say, "Oh well, it's nasty." We do oil. It's all how you like it. My mom mixed one of each because that's what she did. I frankly could care less. Tuna and oil. Here we go. Let's just put that in there. Chicken of the sea. Okay, so now we're gonna put this in for preppers needs. You can um, look into this. This is something that Pee Wee and I were talking about via email before she stopped being on the channel. Love Pee Wee dearly. Miss her. Is canned meats going through the roof. So if you have tuna, stockpile that because you can make tuna sandwiches. Um, I would recommend also looking into making your own bread. Ziploc bags is a must too. That is one thing of the. But if you have the makings of bread, you can make bread at home. That would be your best bet instead of buying bread because you don't know how much bread's going to be in the future. So it's best to make your bread. So the next on the list is canned chicken. Yeah. And then we will do the looking of of Keystone. Remember, Keystone is probably going to be the one that's going to be the most expensive chicken, you know, in existence. Oh, And some people like Vienna sausages, so we're just gonna add some Vienna sausages to my Uncle Donnie loved those. Said he could live on Vienna sausages and he'd be fine. So just to let you know. There we go. So we should be fine there. So we got chicken, canned chicken, all ready to go. And little Vienna sausages. Okay. So and that I would highly recommend in the canned meats. I think we have everything fit for affordability. You just got to make sure to store it away. I, of course, like to always open up a little and sample just to see what I'm paying for because what if I don't like it? And I'm stuck with 20,000 cans of it. You can say, well, I'll live, but I won't be eating happy because it won't taste good. So, chicken can also be made, canned chicken, to be used as chicken salad or chicken sandwich. So, think about that. Mm-hmm. So everything on the preppers list so far, it's in the live chat, is pretty much available to prep. I know if Zoe was here, she'd make some smart ass comment about, ooh, I love canned chicken. Good for you. So with the preppers list, remember, it always gets updated all the time. Prep like your life depends on it, people. Because food shortage is coming, I think. Because look at these prices. And they say inflation's going down. Really. It's because everyone's buying everything as fast as it can and prices are going up. So for you noobs out there, that list will help you immensely. So prep like your life depends on it. So Vienna sausages, little wieners, little this, little that. I can't buy little smokies in the bulk. I'd probably store those away and eat them if I need to. Love little smokies. Now you can find other sources of meat. The thing is you got to look for a certain thing. Like, for example, say you're looking for a smoked. I'll show you if I can find it. I don't know if they ship it on Amazon, but I'll see. So, right there, smoked sausage ropes. You can't get any available. See, basically, sausage rope not available. So, little smokies, just gotta check on it. I love little smokies, as you know. One pack of little smokies, they're charging $90. So there you go, no deal. There you go, $60. See, you can get them at the store for like $4, but you don't want to pay those type of prices. So you know. Now another thing I will tell you, which I'm going to do now, is peanut butter. Peanut butter is a staple, long-term shelf life staple. So that's something that Higgins was telling you. Oh, what about peanut butter? Peanut butter is a staple. So get it while you can. Because that will last a long time too. You'll get some protein, but you will, at least you'll be alive, you know. And I'm not going to go into jellies because, well, not right now. So there you have it. So you got peanut butter. For the poor, you have canned meats. Oh, I didn't look up the Keystone for you guys. That was something I was going to say. Keystone is going through the freaking roof last time I checked. Literally, it's one of those things, you know. Because of it, let's just check. Keystone ground meats. Okay, so 2 cans, 2-pack. There's one large can. So last time I checked Keystone, it was $11 a can. Now it's doubled, so it's $22 a can, almost 23. So think about it. That's just for ground beef or ground hamburger. Now you want regular beef, cut beef, packet 10. That's $16 a can. $18 for chicken, all natural canned beef. Over $20, $25 a can. So basically, unless you want to buy Keystone pork, one is $13 a can for pork. So think about it right there. You need to think about these with turkey, $26. I mean, literally, freeze dried 10-pound can of ground beef, 22 servings supposedly. Is $100 for 1 can of Mountain House. So think about it. That tells you right there, people are prepping. So there you go. Keystone went up in price. You gotta think about that. Think of it for you all. Think about it. Prep like your life depends on it. Think of the pricing. I mean, I've just given you some of the pricing. Candy, by the way, is going up through the roof too, by the way. So if you have a low sugar, you need to keep some candy on hand, it's going through the roof. It is literally going through the roof. So that is why I keep telling you guys, prep like your life depends on it. Yeah. So some of those staples and stuff we talked about today is stuff you need to get. These long life shelf things will last. Don't get MREs. You know, they're not tasty. You need to get the bucket meals and you think that's what you can survive and do it. But again, the portions are small, the calories are small, and you might just lose a lot of weight even if you eat those daily to take calories. That's why I keep telling you to alternate. For example, if you're prepping, get some beef sticks, get some jerky, buy some meats, smoke them yourself, make your own jerky. In the end, the world hurts, and the world hurts, and the world hurts. And when it hurts, I'm not going to have someone beat down my door for my groceries. I'm already prepped, and I keep prepping. Something might happen, something might not happen. Let me put it this way. Let's talk for a minute about... Give me 1 second. Gotta get to the bathroom. Tinkle. Let me just tell you what could happen in a disaster situation. People, if an earthquake hits, first thing you do is you turn your gas off if you have natural gas. Then you see how bad the power grid is. Say your power's out, right? That means you break out your lanterns, you break out your battery lanterns, you break out your stove for cooking. You move everything from your chest freezer to your coolers. Remember, I said at least 2 coolers, 4 is preferable. You can even have 6 if you need. If you have a big family, get 1 to 2 coolers per room. And if you know you need ice, you keep ice on hand in one freezer alone if you have the money. Put your ice in one freezer and the others. Then what? Then cook what you need and start smoking things. You can make a homemade smoker too. You can also buy a pellet smoker. Anything that doesn't require electricity, don't. Now, if you have a generator, you can fire it up. Make sure one person's sitting there with ear noise headphones, like when you firing a gun. Those things to protect your ears, ear protectors. Use those when you're standing out front of the generator, so you don't hear it much. And then you basically power your stuff and smoke things. Your fuel is going to be used mostly for your smoker. If you don't use your smoker, you're fine. But if you do use your smoker, you're fine too. Then you break out your food that you have canned and you eat that secondary. Any frozen foods, as long as you have a Dutch oven, you can cook your TV dinner in your Dutch oven. Yeah. You just set it there and then cook it and wait, plain and simple. Or you buy the propane attached miniature 3-burner stove with the propane oven on the bottom, or you have a standalone propane oven with a propane tank. You can use your TV dinners too. So you eat what you got to eat up first, and then conserve the rest of your fuel for other things. Now, if you're in an area, this is just for earthquakes and tornadoes and flash floods and all this. Natural disasters, turn your gas off and you check your area. Now, if you have no barn, your cows went up in a tornado, well, at least you're alive, right? And if your house goes, that's where I tell you to always keep a storage area that's underground where you can keep your emergency canvas tent where it will keep you dry, and get one with a stove if possible. For some of you with money, get one with a stove. You like a hunter's lodge. Live in there. You can also use the wood stove to cook your coffee on too, and put some beans and stuff. Now, if you're in an area where there's blizzards, well, prepare for that. Prepare for every type of natural disaster and go accordingly, and follow YouTube videos to watch what you have to do after the disaster. If you have time to prep before the disaster, turn on a radio or your TV. You can always stream the news, local news. There's places where you can do it. And you get your news and it'll say stuff. Now, if they're, for example, they're panic buying, then be careful, because if they're panic buying, that would mean some of them might be armed and they might just shoot you for that last can of beans. So be very careful. Now, before the disaster strikes, like, they have windstorms or tornadoes, hurricanes, blizzards, they always panic shop. And the grocery stores always run out because the news says, oh, we're going to have 36 inches of snow in 24 hours. Prepare for it. I mean, I went through 7 Arctic blasts in Washington State when I was younger. And let me tell you, stores barren. We were lucky. We had a wood stove in our bedroom, a wood stove in our living room, and a wood stove in our basement. We stayed toasty, but power was out. We had everything we needed back then for our food supply needs. Camp stove came out. Lanterns came out. Warm blankets came out. Comforters came out. Quilts came out. We had to stay 3 weeks without power. I remember in the early 2000s, we had a snowstorm that was really bad. One snow dump after the next. Living in a mobile home. One manned the wood stove. The other one manned the cook stove. The cook stove was used for the coffee. When it got too late, we switched over to the percolator and filtered our coffee grounds into a cup, so we didn't have coffee grounds when we woke up. My mom still tried to go to work, but for 3 weeks, one of my gifts I gave her was a wood stove. That stove kept her home toasty, and I had to climb on the roof from time to time. The neighbors and I went to town. We couldn't find any canned goods. We couldn't find any meats. We couldn't find anything. The generator was only used to charge the cell phone, which in the Arctic blast was blue skies. It worked. No skies. it didn't work. And we had so much snow. I had to climb on the roof and unload the snow because the beams are like 2x2s. So the snow load was not doing too well for the mobile home, but we got it off. Meanwhile, before these storms hit, we prepped. I made sure we had fresh wood, split, stacked, ready to go. 4, 6, 8 cords. I stacked the wood. I split the wood myself. I kept Coleman fuel, unleaded gasoline, white gas, kerosene in the damn shed. I kept the generator running for only to charge the phone. We did what we had to. Camp stove was used for cooking. Ate the foods that we needed to eat, transferred everything to coolers. We had the jumbo coolers. We had the giant marine coolers in our spare bedroom. We had 16 lanterns. We had the generators. We had the camp stoves. We had 2 3-burner camp stoves, one running on propane on a 5-gallon can, and another one running on unleaded gas. So we always kept ourselves fed. At the same time, it was an interesting thing for 3 weeks. Oh, and just to let you know, back then, the other thing we kept charged was the rechargeable batteries. And we kept extra disposable batteries because we literally were running not one, but for me, I was running 4 Game Boys, then Game Boy Colors, then Game Boy Advances. And Game Boy Advances have rechargeable batteries. So you get the idea. The original Game Boy Advance had a color screen as long as you had light. But then people complained about it, and then they still made one with a light. So the light was backlit. So think about it. We literally had to prep for blizzards. Yeah, blizzard. We've been in windstorms. Power's been knocked out. We've prepped in case emergency where we've had power go out for days before Christmas, during Christmas, and after Christmas. We've had power outages before, after, and during Thanksgiving. So we had to improvise in Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner. That's why we knew what we were doing, how we did it, and we did it efficiently. Literally. So we had all these situations and we went through it with flying colors. Nowadays, the noobs couldn't figure it out. Not you guys watching, but I'm talking about the millennials and the other ones glued to their damn phones. If they would go 6 hours without their phone, I think they'd lose their damn noodles. Me, I don't even worry about it because, frankly, what do I use my phone for? I don't even go out. My phone's charging. It's a flip phone. Basic phone's what someone needs. Otherwise, my phone is fully charged. See? There. I'm going to check the call log, though. Mm-hmm. See? Basic flip phone. It's all a person needs. So, the bottom line, prep like your life depends on it. Something's going to happen. I mean, look, the food shortages could come. People are relying on allowing the government to allow the grocery stores to raise the prices. The prices are being raised because there's a lot more than the government saying about the jobs numbers. The jobs numbers, a bunch of lies, okay? And because of it, you need to prep for your life. Depends on natural disaster hits, you're prepared. If a man-made thing happens, let's just say the man-mades now, if the Great Depression happens, at least you'll be taken care of for a while. Till you got to figure out what to do. Then, if the Great Depression happens and the stock market crashes, you're somewhat prepared. Most people won't. They'll die. They'll die, or they'll kill people to get the food because they didn't prep too. The other thing you need to look after is the government ain't going to take care of you. The stock market crashes. Government ain't going to take care of you until you're out of food and you're severely hurting. In the meantime, it's not the government's job to help, right? So prep like your life depends on it. Now you can say what natural disasters versus man-made. Man-made could not be dependable, but it's options on the table that you got to mindset yourself for. For example, Russia's threatening nukes. Prep for a nuclear winter. Russia's not going to use nukes. And they say, oh, you better prepare for civil war. Could happen. I mean, there's talk of civil war. If the Reds don't get their way, they're going to go in civil war with the Blues. And if the Blues don't get their way, there's going to be civil war. I mean, come on. It's a possibility. It's an option on the table. Civil war. Man-made problems. Stock market crashes. Inflation goes through the roof, and you can't buy anything. I mean, look, gas prices are down because no one's driving. That's the truth. But for the sake of the argument, no one's driving. That means no one's working. If no one's working, that means the fuel is usually going for the truckers. But the truckers don't have enough truck chassis or refrigerated cooling chassis to get one point to the other. So they're all in line waiting. If we just put more money into truck chassis, wouldn't have any problems. But trying to get these people to go to work is like trying to get a needle in a haystack or find a needle in a haystack. Why? Because they don't want to work. What do they want to do? They want to stay home. They want to stay home. And as long as the government keeps feeding them and clothing them and giving them money, they won't have to lift a finger. They think it's great. We got a pandemic. But you got the other side saying, if we don't get people back to work, you're going to see your foods get to the point where everything is going to be expensive. What if the mega drought continues? And then you go to the store one day, instead of $4, you're paying $16 or $20 for one stinking loaf of bread. Think about it. Not enough grains in the world, so the grains go down. Then you have a mass famine and a mass hunger around the world and malnutrition because there's not enough grain. Prepare now. What if you go to the store and you buy all this meat and you enjoy yourself and you think God's given you a great gift of meat? And Biden pats himself on the back and says, oh, look, your meat's cheap. Give it to me, inflation's down. But then the elections go through, you guys eat your tasty prime rib for Thanksgiving and Christmas and then New Year's. And then by Easter, when all the meat's gone because they have too much prime ribs, too much steaks and everything, the prices, no cows because there's no grain and we didn't get rain because of a mega drought, what happens? Your hamburger's not up to $50 or even $100 a pound. Then what? Then what? You sit there and say, no. Then, by that point, you're going to rationalize and say, okay, no one can afford meats. But then you go and look for canned meats, and it's the same price. Then you say, okay, I'll go for beans. Beans, same price. Then you go and look for rice. See where I'm going with this? Thing is, prep now and you won't have to worry. You don't prep, you might be the one going hungry because prices are not going to be low. They're going up. People don't see that. You go online. Let me put it to you this way. Higgins and I had a conversation today. One of the things we talked about was food prices. And when we were talking about food prices, we were talking about food prices. We were enjoying our discussion of food prices. And one of the things we talked about on food prices was the fact that if you look at non-food pricing items, they're bloody the same price pretty much. Think about it. Higgins and I were joking around today about looking for a battery-powered television that runs on AA batteries. I found 3 of them that take AA batteries. Higgins, of course, joked saying something like, you pay dirt. Got to make sure the company that's selling it's reputable. Otherwise, you don't want to go through them. But then Higgins was talking about other TVs. Oh, well, I need to do this. I need to do that. Think about it. Me and him were joking about TVs. About the old days in TVs when you're prepping for your life depends on it. And what were you doing? You were prepping for your life. And that was is this cracking again? Shit, it is. I'm gonna have to fucking put some tape on that next so it doesn't split anymore. That means that back in the day, a little TV ran on AA batteries. AA's, little Sony Watchmens. The colored, smaller versions ran on AA batteries. The Casio TVs, AA batteries. The Rain Man's TV, the FD40 ran on 3C batteries, or 4C batteries. I think the Color Watchman, the FTL 3105 ran on 6 AA batteries. You got about 4 hours of TV time. Excuse me, I'm going to find some tape real quick. So if you look at the picture, here it is. You look at the picture. Gotta seal that up so it doesn't go any further. I got an idea for Chloe, so you look at the big picture on TVs. Those TVs were cheap. Now you can buy them for like $30 new, but you'd have to hook them up to a digital converter box and hope like hell it works with a digital antenna. So a digital antenna, a digital converter box, and hope like heck that those two don't need power if there is a power problem. Otherwise, your little analog TV that you bought for $30 ain't gonna work. Ain't going to work, I tell you. So the best way to preserve something until you can figure out what to do is that I thought about seeing if we could put super glue on the bottom, but I haven't talked to the management yet. Super glue might work, might not work, but I don't want the damn linoleum splitting anymore. So from time to time, I have to put fresh tape on this. And the old tape's wearing off, so I got to peel that off and reapply tape so it doesn't fall apart. So, and I got to talk to the manager because this was the only thing I could think of for the time fixing the linoleum that's falling apart, So, anywho, I got to tape that little piece there. But the point being is you got to look at options too for minor fixes. And that is why one of the tools I told you to get if there's a SHTF situation is this tool here. See this? This Swiss Army knife. It's got scissors. Scissors come in handy for little odd jobs. And this just protects the floor a little bit. That's all it's doing. It's trying to keep the floor together because I don't know why it's splitting. I think it's because of old age. I don't know. There we go. See? And then there. That should hold temporarily till we can figure out what to do. There we go. Okay, so I gotta check my email. Anywho, it's almost at 1 hour 30 minutes. I will log off. So I did get an email from Emergency Food Things saying that certain foods are back in style. Let's see what we got. What we got here? Let me look. On sale now. Yeah, on sale. It saves up 42%. Fine. White rice, so I can get a better deal on that. Flour, can get a deal on that. Just buy it by the bag. Ziploc bag it. Iodized salt. See, this is the thing. These companies here are trying to screw you over, right? See, I would like to go to this website in front of you guys because I'm curious about something. Here we go. And we're going to check pricing. So it says the deluxe baking kit. Save $120. Okay. The great gear stuff. Okay. Well, let's just look at the number 10 cans. Okay. Can kits. Okay. Let's look at can kits. Okay. $229 for can kits. You get 6 cans. This one you get more cans. This one you get 4 weeks of balance. This is Mexican food kit. This is 2 weeks true kit. This is 4 weeks. This is the deluxe baking kit. I mean, literally, you're looking at this emergency food that might be good for you, but the pricing is just too high. This is why you take all that excess money and invest it in real food. Let's see. You got food kits. Do they have the food buckets? I'm just curious. Here we go. The food buckets. 4 weeks of food. $437. 1 month for one person. $290. See? 1 month supply with a water can and filtration system. I mean, look at this. 1 year of food. I mean, literally, how much money do you want to spend? Yeah. They even sell Mountain House. Yeah. 2 servings, $11. See? You can take more money than that unless it's in it. And the reason they're basically providing this stuff right now for you, the preppers, the noobs, the new to preppers, is because they know that once the canned stuff and the canned meats go out, your only option is this stuff. And it might not taste good. I mean, literally, here we go. MREs. 12 MREs, $150. You see? Yeah, so right there. So they're sitting there saying, we can sell you this stuff, but, the survival kits. Let's see. First aid kit, $270 with a bag. First aid kit, 111 set, 130. See, this is where they try to rip you off. You can get more medical kit, 450 plus pieces, $600. I mean, if you want to dump your money into this and you have it, go for it. I, for one, wouldn't touch it. Water, let's see. Water filters and purification. So they're selling one for $230. Okay. So, you can get a lot of stuff. Filters, $100. So after, say, 6,000 gallons of filtration, you got to pay $100 for a kit. Let's see what else is here. I'm just curious. Water storage. I'm just curious. 5-gallon collapsible water container. As long as your water tap's fine and you're on a well and you don't need power to use your pump to get your well water, you can just use a Brita water filter. Cheaper. Instead of doing that, now if you really want, if you have to bug out, that's where you get the portable water filter. And if you don't bug out and you bug in, then you just might, and your water is safe, you don't need to worry about a Brita. And then that's if you trust that. Otherwise, you can go and buy yourself a $200, $400 water jug that's gravity fed after you fill it, and then basically filters the water and keeps the water filtered, and then you just drink filtered water through a little spick. I mean, literally. Oh, look, they got, this is interesting. So for gear, let's see this. Medical supplies, books and informational media. Let's look at this. So they're selling air filters. Doesn't say what the air filters is. Well, let's see what else they're selling. Fire starters. Oh, well, let's see. Fire starting kits. Fire blanket. Biomass stoves. 6 hours canned heat. Pocket plasma lighter with flashlight. Wow. All this stuff that you're going to, a fire starter. Magnesium flint fire starter. Fire pucks. 100-hour candle. I'd like to see what lights and powered gear they have here. Let's see. Ready hour wireless solar power bank, $50. That might be a good idea if you just want to charge the sun using that. 9-in-1 LED solar flashlight. That might come in handy. Solar flashlight with AM, FM weather radio and hand crank. That would come in handy too. A hand crank radio would come in handy. Let's see. The medical department. Again, this place here. Oh, snake bite kit. If you're in that area. Survival kit, something you just throw in your damn purse. Has 46 pieces. You can actually buy it cheaper if you know what you're doing. You can put in survival kit actually on Amazon and find some. Let's see what else we have. Books, blankets. I mean, look at these. Thermal emergency blankets and crap. They're charging more money. Survival medicine, complete medicine, herbal, back to basics, and backyard foraging. Oh, wow. $40, $20, $20. Oh, yeah, $15. These are things that if you want to buy these books and you think you want to become an expert, feel free to spend your money on it. It's not my place to tell you what you do or don't do with your money. But for someone who's doing a prepping channel, you might want to save some money and just go to Amazon. I know, big fan of Amazon. And put in survival kit. And that'll tell you exactly what you need to know. Here's one here. We'll put this in. 142 pieces. 31 piece. 20-in-1. That one's got food, but we're actually looking for an actual survivor kit with tools. This one is a backpack. Look at this. First aid, 160 pieces with backpack. Yeah, I mean, look at all this. A little shovel and everything in a backpack you need, little lights and stuff. I mean, what more do you need? Ooh, look at this, a little backpack full of goodies. You see this? See, this is a game here. Here's one. Comes with everything you need in a basic kit for 72 hours. Yeah. I mean, all in one, earthquakes, hurricanes, yada yada. One person, $200. But you know what? I'm putting this here for you all, so you all can look over some kits. Yeah, that's good enough. This is just an idea for examples, but this gives you the idea that you can survive. You don't need to spend a boatload of money. This is just as a last resort. If you want to spend more money, feel free to. If you want to spend less money, feel free to. The thing is this is stuff that's all thrown together already for preppers. In case maybe this is the survival kit that's for your bug out bag. Have you ever thought of that way? This stuff could be your bug out bag. I mean, I'd show you, but all you got to do is go to the list. The list is in the live chat, so I'm updating it with survival kits. Now, people say, "Oh well, what about those survival knives with the matches and everything?" They don't give you enough. One fish hook, a scalpel, and 6 matches is not a survival knife. And if it has serrated teeth or saw teeth, the blade will rust pretty quickly. You want something that doesn't rust. You want something that will stand the test of time in case of an emergency. For example, a survival kit like this would go good in a bag as a secondary bug out bag. I mean, literally, it's got the shovel in it, you can do it. It's got a little axe and hammer, you're good to go. I mean, some of these have ropes and cords and compasses and a watch and fire starters and blankets and whatever else. I mean, literally, it's all up to you what you want to spend. But this prepping stuff could save your life. You can carry a small prepper's thing um in your bag. I mean, now a couple of things I want to share with you also. When I was talking about prepping, I said the hand crank radios will be good. Sometimes, even if you get a situation where there is um, situations where the entire grid goes out, power, whatever. The only thing you can rely on for news is unless you have a portable TV and the TV station has a generator, that you're not going to be able to get your. Oh, you look nice. Um, you're not going to be able to get your channels, and so you're screwed. So what happens? Simple. You basically use the hand cranked radio.
I've seen one of those. I've seen someone use
They
them
sell
before.
those. They're actually really cheap. That's part of the prepping. Now, what if the radio stations aren't doing much, right? And let's just say it's a nationwide thing, right? There's a nationwide wars or whatever, power outages, whatever, right? And you're sitting there, oh my God, we don't have TV because the TV stations are down. And we don't have email, so we can't contact people. We don't know what's going on in the outside world. And the hand radio is only doing a half assed job. You can turn around and hope and pray that your scanner will pick up not just CB traffic, okay? Say you have a CB radio setup, okay? And you're using it. You might get some CBers, but if the island has no communications, I live in an island, okay? If the island has no communications and you don't have CB, right? CB is one of those that you don't want to use because the scanner will pick it up anyways. But say Chloe's on a CB at channel 4. She says, breaker 04, breaker 04, I'm coming in. At that point, everyone on the island, if they had a CB, would realize that someone's walking the dog, they're coming in, and Chloe can be targeted and kidnapped, or the dog could be turned into food, you see, hypothetically. So you use a radio that has privacy codes like MERS, GMRS, and then you say, breaker 06, breaker 06, yeah, I'm coming in, secured. Scanner might pick it up, might, but it might be in jarbled transmission too. It'll be like, you know, there's something. But if you know the access code of the radios, like Higgins will be working on, you'll know. So if someone's got a radio like this and everyone has a radio like this, within 1 square mile, basically, the radio will pick up everyone else. That's why I have the privacy securities. Now, say I have, we have power, but there's a food shortage and there's other crap happening around the world, right? And Chloe's worried, right? She says, I'm taking the dog out. She radios going out, coming in, going out, right? And say she's got to go somewhere and she's got to be very protective. So she arms herself. Let's just say she arms herself with a bat and a knife and whatever else for self-defense, right? And she does her thing. And she knows the radio is only 1 mile. If there is power on and we're still cooking in the regular stove, which we got to clean the damn thing. Manager was complaining about the stove the other day. No offense to stove talking. And you're not using your camp fuel yet or your stuff. And you still have electricity, but there is a food shortage, for example. You better basically button up and do your business and get back. Say Chloe's at the store and she's like, oh, I need to get Chubbs of hamburger, right? Well, 2 ways you can do Chubbs of hamburgers. 1, you could do a radio, hold on, a radio, they're called 2-way radios, right? Right? And what it is I'll tell you what it is. I just was looking at this website. Apparently, shout out to, I think his name's Randy of Not Rubicon, great radio reviewer, by the way. Love his antics. He's hilarious. Okay, now he can make fun of me all he wants, but I'm just telling you, he's a great. From what I get, I like his pinned comments where he actually comments and pins something to the top, like some smart ass. So basically, Not Rubicon's really great. Okay, so what happens? I'll tell you. So basically, for example, there is a radio right here, the Wuxon radio. I got to do some research. For example, this is a radio that's 50 watts. Now I can buy 50 watts. Unfortunately, the problem with the 50 watt is for $370, and it doesn't say how far it is. So even if you had a basic antenna, what I'm looking for is the icon. They're called business. Personal users can use it too. So for example, if I spent $600 and then I paid this $488, I could use the AT&T LTE network and use the radio nationwide with Chloe. So $400 for Chloe's, $600 for mine. Turn it on, and it uses a SIM card, which means we're using it for communication between us. Slicing radio, all it is LTE. But say power goes out, cell towers go out, and then what? How do you use it if these cell towers are down? Cell towers go out, you're going bye-bye. Your radio is useless. So the equipment's there. The technology's there. yeah, so just thought I'd share that with you. So depends on what you want to do, right? So that is why you need to prep like your life depends on. This is stuff that some people talk about, some people don't talk about, but we're done. We're good, right? Think about it. You prep like your life depends on. Talk about radios. Not all radios. There is ham radios. You don't want to be on the ham frequency without a license. You just want to see how far he can go and push the. He wants to push buttons with the FCC. Let him. Then you have me trying to get my hams license. The GMRS license is going to be approved. Then you have your FRS, which is license free, which means you get less than a half mile to a mile with obstructions. Then you have your GMRS, which you get a booster. You can use a booster. I can boost it up to 75 miles if there's no obstructions. Now, with a home base station setup, I can probably boost it all the way to the store. That was the main goal of it. But if it works that far, it can probably work all the way to the beach. So that's why we were going to test it out. But it takes time and money. So one thing at a time. Food first. Everything else is a luxury. Remember, you're prepping. You want to prep like your life depends on it. The radios, on the other hand, they're going to be great. All right. Now, if you're in the city, you might get a quarter to a half mile, depending if you're using FRS to GMRS. Now, GMRS might be a half mile to a mile with obstructions. It might be more. It might be less. So, And so you got to look at what's available. Midland said I could use a boost. I could literally use a giant boost or a booster with a 50 watt. I can use 15 watt to 50 watt. I can use a handheld with 5 to 8 watts. I can use a mobile that's mounted in the car that I can set up here at home with an antenna right outside the window to boost 5 watts, which might get 2 miles. I can use 15 watts, which might get 3 to 5 miles. I can use a 30 watt, which might get 10 miles. I can use a 40 watt that could get 15 miles. Or I can use the coup de gravel with obstructions and might get 20 miles using a 50 watt. So it depends on how you do things. Now, if the goal is the grocery store, well, that's one thing. But what if it's not the goal? What if the goal is that you have the ham radio, right? How many people on this island has ham? 4 or 5. And only 4 of them run the club. So you got to be licensed. So what if you don't want to be licensed? You go with FRS, and you're going to get half a mile to a mile. This craps out in about a mile. So that's it. Scratchy. Now, if I had a GMRS radio from Midland, it could boost it all the way to where Chloe is with that radio. That's what they said. You could be in your house with the antenna outside or next to the window, and it'll transmit to Chloe a mile or 2 miles away, and it'd work just fine with 50 watts. Yeah. Then she could talk to me because she's transmitting 1 mile. The antenna's picking it up completely from an area. So like a circumference, right? Now, what if we went with MERS? MERS might get maybe a mile with obstructions. Might get 2 miles. No one knows. That's why we were going to test it out. But Higgins decided he wants to try it all out first. So he wanted to get a dual or tri-band. Fortunately, if you get a ham radio that's tri-band, like a Bofang, the Bofang will basically take care of MERS, FRS, GMRS, but you're not supposed to transmit. So unless you jailbreak it, and if you jailbreak it, then you might be able to do it. But so far, the FCC supposedly hasn't punished people, so I don't know. I'm not a radio expert, okay? I can't say I'm a radio expert. No. I'm not an expert in anything, but I am giving you advice that is well knowledged for you noobs out there watching this channel, because this will help you out immensely. If you're looking for radios, we're starting to test radios. We want to test out portable TVs. What if there is just a food shortage and you have a portable TV that's gets over the air, right? And the news says, oh, food shortage. Then you know. But what if it's not a food shortage? Food shortage, Civil War, World War III, all this crap stacked up that's man-made. Then what do you do? Not including, but limited to, the government saying, you better prep now because then the Farmer's Almanac is saying that there's going to be heavy weather of snow this coming year. Really, I encourage snow. But then again, where we come, we might get 6 inches in an entire year here. That's it. My old place, we had snow one year. We had snow every day of the week, basically. I never seen so much snow when my husband was alive. But you know what? We prepped properly. Grocery stores were open. Of course, I remember one time walking with hubby. We saw a little mouse scurry across the floor. Yeah, a little mousey in the snow. Hubby said that one's going to look for a place to stay dry as long as a cat's not nearby. Otherwise, he's dinner. Think about it. Dinner for kitty. Yeah, so when it comes to prepping, you need to prep like your life depends on it. Literally prep like your life depends on it because there's no going back soon. No one knows which way we're going to go. You might just be out of the fray, you might get punked, you might get dumped, and you might get barbecued. So you want to sit around and say, all is well, nothing's going to happen to me, and then something happens. Who's going to be at fault? You? Or are you going to be at fault? I mean, one guy said he keeps 10% of his stockpiles in case of family and friends didn't prep. Family and friends didn't prep, and they didn't prep, and they don't want to prep, and they think prepping is stupid because you prepped, and then all of a sudden crap hits the fan. Whose fault is it? Your fault for not prepping, or your fault for prepping? In my opinion, you heard it once before. Prep like your life depends on it. Think about it. Prep like your life depends on it. You don't prep now, you're going to be hurting in the future. Not everything's about you're glued to your cell phone. The library is open. Go to the library. Use the library's free resources for prepping tools. They got books on prepping. Spend $20, buy a book. I'm a leaflet. Another thing you need to ask yourself is how much are you willing to spend every month for prepping supplies? Get through 3 days or a week or 10 days or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. The more you think about it, the more put it into action. If you don't prep, it's going to be every man, woman, child for himself or herself. Think of it. Prep like your life depends on it. Government ain't going to be there for a while. FEMA? Mm-mm. Think of what's needed and think of what's not needed. Think about it. Think about it. Yeah. Think about it. What's needed and what's not needed. Yeah. Think of your food, your water, your shelter. You have extra money? Prep for the items you need to survive. Now, say power goes out. You investing in those battery banks ain't going to do you a world of good if you charge your phone up and the towers go out a couple days later because the generators run out of gas. Or you sit there and say, well, I think I need solar panels for this, this, and this. Think about it. You buy your food, you excess money for prepping like solar. Now, if you buy solar that's power small items, good for you. But if you want solar for your house, the electric company starts saying, oh, well, we're going to give you a deal, but we're going to take some of that solar for ourselves. Yeah, that's what they do. So you're selling some of your solar back to your electric company. And I've seen people, and I've heard people, put solar on the entire roof. Electric company came out and said, why'd you disconnect? No, that's just by law, state law, whatever. And they said, oh, our entire house is solar. And our sheds and everything. Electric company goes back and says, oh, your rules and regulations, put solar in. And, certain states. And then you've got to sell us your electricity. So we're going to still sell you electricity, but now we're taking some of your electricity and distributing it to the other people. I mean, this is a world where we're basically sitting here trying to be self-sustainability, and the electric company is squeezing your nuts and your tits, draining you of every dollar they can by basically screwing you over one way or the other. If every house in America was solar, we wouldn't need much of electricity companies. I'll say every house that gets more sun than places with clouds, I would cut down the grid a lot. Well, then what if you need to add some extra solars? Maybe you build a giant shed or a giant garage out back. Fire roofs with solar. And someone says, oh, you got a detached garage. What's in there? And they go in and find a charging station for the car. Well, then it could come down to this eventually. But the thing is, let's think about it. The government wants you. The government wants you to be screwed over. You put in solar and you tell them, or they find out, you're going to be paying for it. The electric company ain't going to be screwed over by a peon like you. So, unless you have a state where they allow you to have all solar and you can live on solar 24/7 and only replace your batteries and your solar panels as needed, you, the American people, will be screwed over. But think about it. Let me put it to you another way. If a natural disaster happened, has anyone ever heard of the Emergency Act? States have the powers of Emergency Act, right? Picture this. This is a hypothetical. Picture this. You turn around. You stockpile. Let's just say me and Chloe stockpile like our life's dependent on which we are. And the entire state of Washington, this is where we live, by the way, Washington, issues the county to go round up everyone's food, to distribute it evenly because a lot of people didn't prep. State law can do that because they put in a preparedness. Federal government can have the military come into every state who the preppers are and take their food sources because it's in a law. Like the Emergency FEMA Act or somewhere. FEMA and others can just go and distribute it. So you bought it all, and they can take it. Say Elon Musk, the state of Texas, is in a huge despair, right? And let's just say he's got like $10 million in groceries, right? Good stuff. Military gives him a piece of paper that says we're taking it. He can't argue because the law states it. He might argue and say we're here to take away the law, but first the U.S. government goes and it takes it. Then the U.S. government starts doling it out. Then the states say, oh, these people's foods are hidden pretty well. Say Texas again. Then they might come and declare a state of emergency and then go, say my cousin Dinky's entire, I heard her pantry's the size of my apartment, okay, my 2-bedroom apartment. So let's just say government of Texas finds out that she's stockpiling with everyone else. They can just say, oh, emergency, we're taking your stuff. Then they dole it out. Again, communist idea, socialist idea. So they want to make sure that, so if something happens to the world, be careful. I mean, literally. The states can issue the counties to collect your food by an emergency declaration. Now, you can just sit there and open fire at every motherfucker trying to take your food. Eventually, let's just say you live in a small community, hypothetically, and someone comes to you and they say, by state law, we're taking your food. And you're like, bam, 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 and they're all dead. Then the governor says, oh, we rounded up this much. What about this county? Then they send in the army to find out what happened. Let's just say the army lands or the Navy SEALs or something. They're doing a little recon work, right? And all of a sudden they land and they're walking around. People are just sitting there like going hungry and stuff. Meanwhile, they're not going to mess with a person that just shot up like the law enforcement, hypothetically, because the law enforcement wanted to do the law and order, and yet, the law police, they know the sheriffs aren't tactically inclined with shotguns or rifles, so they're like, bah, 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 bah. Maybe they're using armor-piercing bullets. They want to make sure that their food's safe, other people's food's safe, and if anyone tries to do something, they'll go. So then they go around. Let's just say there's a family, and the family says, we need able-bodied people to do law and order, or able-bodied people in a group that is preppers to work together. Say they see me and I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to protect myself, my crossbow and my sword on me. They might be like, hey, are you a prepper? Yeah, okay. Instead, another prepper is not going to go steal their other food. We'll join forces, and the next thing you know, we're up against the army because the army's like, we're going to start your food. Well, this guy could sit there and say, okay, tell me to hide. Next thing you know, he's mowed down half the army, hypothetically, because he's using armor-piercing bullets and he doesn't give two craps. Then when the army finds out that some prepper didn't give their food because the army ordered it, well, that's why it's called every man, woman, and child for himself. Pretty much. It's going to get pretty rowdy if that happens. And there's famine and food shortages. Think about it. That's one of the situations. Civil war happens. Really, every man for himself because food shortages will be out. You'll have Democratic-controlled states and Republican-controlled states duking out, federal government getting involved, and everything else. National Guard, can be for state level. Reserve and Army only overseas. Yada, 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 supposedly. So you got all these things. Stock market crashes. It's going to be worse than the last time. Food shortages, famine. Hobo camps. Jobs lost. My cousin could be sitting in a tent wondering maybe, if it becomes a hobo, hobo Corey and hobo Tara. Maybe they lose everything and they're living in a tent trailer, or they're living in a tent that they carry in their backs. Think about it. I mean, hypothetically, it could happen. I mean, this is why you got to prepare for every case scenario. Are you willing to realize and rationalize that you could lose your home? You can lose your home. Natural disaster. Man-made disasters. Man-made disasters, what we call civil war, banking reset, fourth industrial revolution, you name it, it happens, okay? Yeah. So you guys stand around and you say, ooh, I mean, literally, think about it. Think about it for a minute. An industrial revolution, Great Depression, housing collapse, whatever. I mean, literally, power grid failure. They're always talking, oh, the power grid's weak. Well, we don't have the infrastructure for electric cars. We don't have the infrastructure to update the IRS computers. We don't have the infrastructure to update a lot of things. IRS is still using cobalt. Cost billions of dollars. What's Biden going to do? Today we're signing a new bill. The IRS gets new computers. It's going to cost $75 billion. And we're adding other new computers to every agency in America. So it's the new computer axle, blah, blah bill, which is $4 trillion. Yeah, computer companies just got $3 or $4 trillion. I'm just throwing a fake number out there, but you get it. Computer companies stay solvent. U.S. government just dumps in a contract for them, just like they do for military carriers and military subs and everything else. Think about it. I was talking to Higgins today about government control, government oversight. Look at the government, for example. Look at last night's incident, okay? I'm going to tell the short story. Had a good night partying with my cronies and my moderators, talking about prepping. Someone called from YouTube about me excessively drinking. Sheriff and EMS came. Don't know why. I made a joke with Chloe after the facts. It was on YouTube after the facts. I'd love to hear my name on the scanner. See, I didn't even pick it up the first time. Someone must have heard me say that. It wasn't Higgins, but guess what happened? So they came out. Instead, I went through my video today while Chloe was doing her errands. I was on the phone to Higgins. And you know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. I was polite to the sheriff. I said, can I help you? He said, how many subscribers do you have? Oh, more than you, Sonny Jim. I said, the thing is, EMS turned off my computer. They literally closed off the computer so you guys can see anything. They violated your rights, my rights, and the civil rights. They don't want to be videotaped because they're told by the deep state that they have to be videotaped. They don't want to be videotaped. So they don't want to basically be videotaped in case they screw up, right? Then they said people are criminals for having a police scanner. A police scanner. Think about it. So, all in all, everyone, what's that tell you about the deep state? Well, let's go over our prepping talk, and then I'm getting out of here, okay? The deep state does not want you to be... They want you to be the Borg. Technical term in Star Trek, the Borg. We are the Borg. Resistance is here. They want you to be a little robot drone that works for the collective. So the government's trying to say, you will work for the collective. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way in society. What it is they don't want to be videotaped. The sheriff, he was in there, he didn't want to be on videotape either. No, he fucks up, he's screwed. So what happens? Talk from there. So how can I help you, sir? Oh, no, I had 9 shots. Okay, blah, blah, blah. If they want to check me out, they can check me out live. Otherwise, they can go. I told the lady, touch my computer again, there's problems. I'm talking to a lawyer. I did this morning. I told him, get the F out. They left. They weren't going to deal with me. And then I passed out on the floor. They all thought it was suicide. It was suicide, man. I was drinking too much. You left me on the damn pillow overnight on my floor. I'd be very happy the next morning. No hangover. Instead, I get to the hospital, not knowing. I wake up with an IV in my arm, little wire thingies connected. That's it. Wire things connected. Wire things. Wake up and they're telling me it's ready to go. And all I remember is they told me something about peeing. Peeing again. I went back to sleep. Doggy was with me. But sheriff is like, Rita shouldn't have drinking this much. I told them they couldn't touch me, but you know what? EMS thought I had a heart attack or stroke or whatever. No, just passed out on the floor after throwing up a few times. But you know what? It was fun. But we're back to our original show tonight of prepping. So, the main reason I'm telling you the story is to let you know the deep state wants you to be subservient little robots. Let's tell you what's going to happen in the future if you don't get your party to win. If you're Democrat, fine. If you're Republican, fine. It goes like this. If you let the Democrats win, they're going to make it so every police department and sheriff in the country will be digital encrypted only, which means fire, EMS, sheriff, police, encrypted. They don't want you to hear anything. They don't want to hear me hearing on the scanner why there was a fucking weapons raid where some guy had 200 plus weapons and every serial number was called out and ran through the federal and state databases. Yeah, there's a federal database. You think there isn't? Don't kid yourself. There is. Two. They want you to rely on the fucking government. And when they do, they are going to basically make it so preppers are going to be gone first. You see, the reason, as Zoe doesn't understand, why the preppers are a threat is some preppers are armed. Some preppers are fucking armed to the teeth. Like I said, some preppers will band together to defend their homes, their property, their stuff, their foods, while everyone else will only have to tactically go into mobs to kill people. Yeah, that's why I say use tactics. If there's an SHTF situation, it's going to be bad. Secondly, big one. Preppers are a threat because they don't think in the collective mind. They don't think. They think independent. They think, look. Moderator Pee Wee, who I love dearly, Sister Pee Wee, still is my sister, doesn't realize I'm neutral, but this is from the bottom of my heart. The deep state is trying to brainwash people. Think of it. They want you, the taxpayers, to call if someone's completely staggering drunk in their own home to try to get them committed because they think they're insane conspiracy theorist douchebags. When in reality, it's the brainwashed sheriff and EMS and firemen that are fucking the ones that are fucking stupid. It's the government that tells you, you need to buy a license to use ham. You need to buy a license for GSRM. Yeah, got a license. $35 for a ham license for 10 years. $35 for a GSMRS license for 10 years. Food. Look, the government is basically making it so that preppers will find other alternatives to prep. They don't want the preppers to prep. You know what? The preppers are the armed, stockpiled, miniature militias that will regulate them if it comes down to it. Think about it. The preppers, like you and me and the rest, need to band together to make a difference. And that is no violence. But think about it. Government wants you to be subservient little robots so they can put in their new social program. You're poor? You can't buy that on your debit card when they reset the banking system. Why do they want to reset it in front of everyone? Well, let's see. They want to put in new programs. You pay more taxes for your cars. Yeah, if you're not driving a electric car, we're sorry, we're going to screw you over. And if that doesn't work, no offense, they want to screw you over. They want to screw you over by making it so you can't buy things unless you have a social status high enough hierarchy of your status. You're poor, you might end up being told you can buy rice, beans, and bread and the occasional sandwich meat. Someone that's got a job might be able to get bread, rice, beans, sandwich meat, eggs, cheese, milk, and bacon, and maybe the occasional steak. The higher your income, the more privileges you get, just like this. The higher the radio thing, right? Radio. There's 3 licenses. The higher you go on the ham radio licenses, the more privileges you get. The government's going to say the higher you are on your income, the more privileges you get. So instead of being a puny, poor ass SOB, now you're a puny, poor SOB with so much restrictions, you might be a 9th class citizen. Think about it. How would you feel if you were on the Titanic as 3rd class and it's sinking? That's how the government's treating people. They don't want the preppers to prep because they think, well, the preppers are the problem because they're rising the prices up. We preppers know how to alternate. We know how to improvise. The problem is the government wants to blame everyone. Everyone except themselves. Think about it. Now, one of the things I was going to tell you is for preppers, you need to prepare for all emergencies. I'm not talking natural disasters. I'm talking about getting. So basically, picture this. The American people don't need robots. They need to be individuals. Fortunately, when it comes to the preppers, it's every man, woman, and child for themselves. Because a lot of these people think the government, if there's a natural disaster, will take care of them. Well, what if, hypothetically, preppers take care? They start reading books. Let's just say one person in the family is designated the medic. They keep the medic bag near. Another one's the radio man, like military thing. Another one's the leader, and it goes on and on and on. And yet, let's just say the medic knows how to fix most things, sprains, ankles. What if an SHTF situation happens? What happens if you need something you can't get? Let's just say you have a heart attack. Then what? You lay right up in bed for 6 or 8 weeks, can't do anything. A stroke. You're laid up in bed until someone gets you, or you die because, well, you're dead. You see where I'm going with this? Yeah, think of your health. Your health is important. You get cancer or SHTF, you're good as toast. Think about it. Your medical needs need to be met. You need to make sure you have the over-counter medicine before it goes through the roof. Preppers are prepping every day. That's why the prices are going up. You guys think the government's going to start subsidizing your ibuprofen to your Tylenol to your naproxen to whatever. Me? It doesn't work that way. Excuse me for a second. Do we have any? Yes, we do. I'll take a couple of these, which I don't take that often, but I will tonight. I'll get some more ibuprofen. There we go. Usually I don't take ibuprofen, but I'm doing it tonight, so. There we go. Usually I don't take any, okay? What, 9 months ago I took some? Yeah, so that tells you there. So, emergency situation. Prep like your life depends on it. Yeah. Government wants you to be robots. They want you to rely on the government, but all the people that aren't working are the ones are relying on the government. Check the food stamps out of the welfare offices still doing extended food stamps. It's the freaking blue states. The blue states people are like, no, do we get our food stamps? Yes, we just noticed we get it. Oh, great, this is a blessing. I'm not working, so this is a blessing. You're not working? You're not working. Are you working? Or did you quit your job because you think the government can give you free cell phones? Let's just basically say it. Free cell phones. Free internet now. Some places pay their freaking rent. Some places pay free garbage, free water, free sewage. Think about it. If the American people, keep going down this path, the ones that aren't working are the ones with the preppers. They're blaming the preppers anyways. We're going to blame of us, the preppers, for raising the prices. We're just prepping because we have no choice. They have a choice. They just don't want to do it because they think, oh, there's an earthquake, a fire, a blizzard, a hurricane, a tsunami, a volcano eruption, whatever. The government will come in and help them out. So we have a great country. Think of Hurricane Katrina and Rita. How long did that take to get cleared up? Evacuating people. Evac. At what cost? Taking away people's guns, taking away things, martial law, yada, yada, yada. What if martial law happens in this country, huh? Let's just say the blue states and the blue president declares martial law. And Congress agrees. Next thing you know, the military can round up your guns. The military can round up your food. The military can dole out what you get through martial law. Think it won't happen? It could happen. And that is why you need to look up the laws on why they have pieces of paper that can take your food, your ammo, your guns, whatever they want during an emergency situation. So, if people don't prep, and let's just say there's a global pandemic and a U.S. pandemic, let's just say it's a global pandemic, and even the U.S. has problems and it affects the U.S. Let's say power outage. The government will come and start ramming down their throats, your throats, my throats. The law doesn't apply to the military and the government, but the law applies to us that they passed, taking away our food because, well, that's what they want to do. They want to cripple the entire preppers for their food. Think about it. Government knock on your door, they'll be like, we're taking your food. There's nothing you can do. You shoot them. Is that what's needed? I don't know. I don't condone violence, but push comes to shove. There might be something to do. Yeah. So, think about it. So, with that said, everyone, I hope you liked the list today. I hope you got some ideas for prepping. Remember what I said. Your best bet currently is canned foods. Canned foods. Canned foods. Canned meats, kits, everything. I got to send the list to Higgins, Chloe, and then I'm out for the night. But I wanted to talk to you about that. Don't poke the bear. That is too funny. Don't poke the bear. Okay. So, got to send this to Higgins real quick. Moderator Higgins, I want to see if he's got anything to say about this. So, I had my therapist appointment today. It was pretty good. We didn't get to everything, but we're working still again. But right now, she thinks I'm a goofball for prepping too. But you know what? It's either my life or their life. And when I say their life, I mean they could go and hope the government's going to bail them out, or they have enough money to survive, or they're not prepped nearly. I'm a prepper, and prepping is the way we need to do things. Okay, so let me just send this to Higgs. All right. All right, so Higgy's have been emailed. You guys got the list. The list has been updated. Like I said, it looks pretty good. I added survival kits. Oh yeah, Higgins was talking about compass too, so I should add that real quick too. Compass. Apparently, or did I add compass? I don't know. I'll just figure it out. This one looks good. So what we're looking for is a military type compass. Yeah. So you want some military compasses? Here's some military compasses. So we'll just add these to the list and we'll be done. So basically, like I said, you need to check the preppers list. The list here will help you in every way, shape, or form. Because okay, so apparently I might put something else in just to see. All right, so compasses have been added. So I want you guys to remember, think about it. You're going to need to prep like your life depends on it because all right, prep for what I'll look up something real quick out of curiosity for preppers like us. I would like to know if they have something. Yeah, so let's just see. So they're like, I decided to look. Yeah, for a second. They just throw it all randomly in here. Why don't we just do this? All right, let's see. Nope, they don't have anything. Here we go. This is what I was looking for prepping. Okay, so I just wanted to say prep like your life depends on it. It could be nothing, but I don't think it's going to be nothing. I think we're going to see a lot of crap hit the fan soon. It's better to be safe than sorry. So, if you have any comments, please ask now because I'm about to log off soon. I'm going to use the restroom again. And then I'm out. All right, so I'm about to log off soon, but for the final couple minutes, I just wanted to say, for the noobs out there, think about what I said. Don't take it with a grain of salt. A lot of people do. Look what they're ending. Screwed. For the non-noobs out there that just like to watch my channel and say, Rita knows, I don't know everything. I'm not a know-it-all, okay? Higgins, of course, is going to be reviewing radios. We're going to try to see about getting a radio that can work for all communication purposes. That's why Higgins is testing first. Then, when Higgins gives me the full reports, I will personally let you know which ones are good. The FRS radios, I can't on good conscience recommend them. GSRM, I can if you're willing to pay for the license. Now, I would recommend giving us some time so we can test them out. Now, for all we know and purpose, don't think prepping is wrong. Prepping is right. Now, you guys can sit there and say, but, prep. Look, let me give you some bit of advice, okay? When I say prep like your life depends on it, it means prep the best way you can. Do what you can. If you can buy $30 of prepping gear a month or food, in case something happens, it never does, and you rotate it out, you're doing better than most. Sorry, I like him. See, that's my buddy, Ebony. So, then you say to me, well, if nothing happens, you just keep adding to your monthly preppers thing. Let me put it this way. Let me tell you something interesting, okay? I want you to think about this. I want you to chew on this. I really want you to think on this wholeheartedly. And no, not thinking about brushing my hair. I'm just trying to keep the knots and tangles out. It's not easy having gray long hair being a woman, okay? Look at all this gray hair. All right, let's just cut to the BS, okay? Think of if you could put, say, $10 away a month if you have $10. Then try to increase it $20 and eventually $30. And there nothing happens. You get into the rhythm of prepping. Now, let me just tell you something I want to give all of you. It's not too late. I'm teaching Chloe prepping. And she's hard to learn. But let me tell you the secret to prepping. When you start putting money away every month and you're allocating your funds for prepping, you don't just prep for the month. You prep for the following month. You prep for the month after. How do I do it? I'll tell you. When I allocate money to prepping stuff, I do it because it's needed. I do it because it has to be done. I do it because there's other people out there that do it too. But if you get into the routine, eventually, when you're getting ready to prep, and you start doing it, and month after month, you start getting into a routine with your budget. Then eventually, you'll sit there and you'll start cutting corners for other things that you might not need. Think of it. You can go and make an entire prepping survival kit out of half the stuff you at home, and it wouldn't faze you. Can opener? Oh, got 8 of these. I mean, think about it. 8 can openers. Well, you can allocate 2 or 3 to your prepping kit, so you have more can openers like this. I mean, literally, how many can openers do you need? Out and about. You sit there and you think, I need this giant sheath knife for prepping. Well, if you're just yourself, you can use one of these. Keep it in your preppers area where you know where it is. Or, like I have 3 Swiss Army knives I keep on hand. There's items you buy and there's items you buy. And there's items you always keep your food. Buy the generic stuff if possible. This diarrhea meds. I got like 10, 12 boxes just in case you have diarrhea. It works, you see. Think about things. Cut corners when you can. But eventually, you're going to go down. And when the big one hits, earthquake, flash floods, thunderstorms, thunderstorms. Your house gets blown down by a tornado, hurricane, collapses your house, volcano erupts, tsunami crashes in your house. Any natural disaster, you're going to thank yourself for doing this, for you and your family. What if none of the disasters happen? Now, they say earthquakes are more prone than that, or tornadoes, and at least you'll have a heads up, right? Say you live in an area where there's no disasters, but the man-made ones come. Civil War, well, power grid goes down. What else? Power grid goes down. Banking collapse. Whatever. You're going to thank yourself for prepping. And while you're at it, you're going to sit there one day, and you're going to look at your family during the disaster, maybe around the camp stove, if there's power outages, like a camping trip, and your kids are going ape because their computers aren't running and their phones aren't running, but you're happy you prepped. And you say, I'm glad I followed that noob, that YouTuber that doesn't have any big subscribers. She was right. Prep like your life depends on it because of your life and your family's life. But as you're gradually getting into prepping more, you might sit there and say, oh, what's more important, prepping or cutting out a service? Let's just say you could sit there and say, well, I don't need HBO Showtime anymore. And then eventually you'll sit there and you'll be like, I'm not using the TV much. My family uses Disney. I'll just cut out Stars and Paramount Plus. I've watched everything until a new season comes around. And then you'll be like, oh, I've saved a monthly thing of $800 for prepping. Then you turn around and eventually you look at you and your wife and your kids' needs. You might cut out the less of that. And then what? Then you look at it and you're like, oh, Hulu and Netflix is raising their prices again. I'll cut Hulu out. Eventually you'll be like, I don't need Netflix. And then you look at your streaming service and you're like, well, I have Amazon Prime, but I use that for free shipping for preppers goods. But, maybe you got Walmart Plus. Maybe they're delivering still. Maybe they're not. Maybe they say, oh, can't. Which reminds me, I forgot to mention on this Preppers Talk tonight, has anyone realized that food stuff at Walmart is not available except for pickup? That's because even with a Walmart Plus membership, I was talking to customer service the other day. They tried to sell me on one. I wouldn't budge. Why didn't I budge? Because they found out where I live. And they said, oh, why don't you just pick up your grocery at the local Walmart? I don't drive. Oh, well, it's not that far, 42 miles. When they checked where it was, I said, I'll stay with Amazon. Why is people still staying with Amazon? Because Walmart wants to give you 6 months to a year free Paramount Plus if you subscribe. But is it worth it? No. What is worth it? If you can save some money, go through Target and Amazon. Or Kroger's if you need something. Kroger's, Rally's, Giant Eagle, Fred Meyer's, they're all pickup only now. They're not allowing you to order and have it shipped. Mostly it's pickup only. So they start forcing you, the buyer, to go to their stores. That's where Amazon will pick up the pace. Even though they're cutting corners, Amazon knows they'll get their business back tenfold because they're still one of the few companies out there with Target shipping. Target might have took 90% nosedive, but that's because Amazon is basically doing what they have to. Walmart, of course, they think their plans are great, but honestly, their plan is crap. I mean, if you look at it, if they can't deliver things, what can they deliver? You're like, oh, well, what can Amazon or Walmart deliver? Let's just say anything that's... Okay, let me put it this way in easy terms for you, the viewers watching this, because I know later when I'm done, you'll understand. The items that are luxury items, I'm talking luxury items, stuff that you don't really need, but you want. Those items are the ones that they can ship. Need new DSLR? Put in your cart and hit checkout. It gets there in 3 days. Need a 80-inch new TV? Need a computer? Oh, computers are semi-sold out because computer chips and in fact school's coming in. Every year they run out for 3 months. I wonder why. So, being an older lady, you can basically see where I'm coming from this whole ordeal, okay? So, before you sit there, think about it. Do you need your streaming services if you're not using them? Do you need this? I mean, we're coming into a juncture where you're going to have to realize your TV is not that important than others. Think of a power failure. Do you think that TV stations are going to have an unlimited supply of fuel by the government so they can power the TV stands to allow people with the portable TVs? Portable TVs used to be perfect, okay? Let me tell you a story. When we were younger, by the way, I need to pull them out anyways, clean them. So let me get you those. I'm going to give you an example. Give me a second. I want to share this with you. It's one of my hobbies and collections. It's a collection piece I want to share with you. I also need to clean them. So while I'm cleaning them with this and some Windex, you're going to understand, okay? So if you give me a second, I will share with you something important. That was important back in the day. Windex is here still. Okay. In my opinion, son. Okay. I'll put these back when I'm done, but this is an example, okay? Higgins always laughed about this, but you know what, Higgins? Sorry. Okay, so you guys are sitting there probably laughing at the demonstration, but let me tell you what the government did, okay? With you being self-servant little robots, okay? I got a couple of things to share with you. It's part of my collection. It's part of your prepping lesson for tonight, okay? So, before I show you, I gotta clean this. I got a couple of them. I have a bunch, but these ones here need to be cleaned from time to time. Oh, yeah. Okay. A little bit of scratches on, but they're heavily used and loved back in the day. Now, let me see. This takes 6 C batteries. Higgins is like, what? What? Let me just see this. Yeah, 6 C batteries. It might have been 8 C batteries. Okay. Back in the day, for preppers like us, this is all you needed. See? Look at this. All you needed. But then the government got greedy and wanted to control everything. They didn't like people like you or me having TVs at home. And they didn't want the companies to, like Russia, they wanted to control the media. So if they can control it by saying that we had to go digital, then they won the battle. Now, this one here is pretty cool, too. I'll show you this one, okay? Now, what did they do? They made everything digital. They made these obsolete. I'll give you an example in a second. See? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at this. Old TV. Higgins and I were talking about that. Look at this. Why? Because they wanted to control the media. Natural disasters. They also found that if you went digital on streaming, they can see what you buy. Okay, this takes um, 6 double A's. It could be used, but it won't get any signal. See? Isn't that nice? So, let me just show you this one. I got more, but you get the idea. You see, the government does not want you to use analog. So they forced you to go digital because they want to control everything you bloody do. Now this one takes what? This takes 6 double A batteries. Look at this. Wow, that was really on there, I tell you. 6 double A batteries. Screen's a little smaller, but you get the idea. TVs like this, back then, for preppers, is what was needed. But then they took away. People started wanting to go with analog to, wanted to go from black and white to color. So color TVs were $300-$400 for these. The ultimate mini preppers right there. This one had a radio. The radio still works, but the TV, unless you get a digital converter, it won't work. So unless you can find a digital converter, brand new in the box for not $300, then you get the idea. So the other two are black and white TVs. I'll break those out next. And then you guys can, and then I'll show you the other thing the government did that you guys fell for. Oh, one of these is heavy. See, look. These were the portable ultimate preppers TVs back in the day. Didn't matter if it was black and white. What matters was you could get television. Now a prepper's TV is a digital color TV that's small. Runs on a lithium battery, by the way. They did that for a reason, so you can't charge it once crap hits the fan. They don't want anything that takes batteries. They want everything lithium built. Yeah. So, the last thing I'm going to show that we used to have control over until they took that away, let me show you, is this. Okay. Go. Damn it. Can't find it. Thanks to. Shit. Feels like someone stole the damn thing. Oh, here it is. We'll move it. Duh. Okay, peeps. The ultimate prepper's tool. The ultimate prepper's tool. Discontinued, people. Discontinued. Why? Analog TVs. They wanted to milk you for every stupidity thing you do, so they turned around and literally went ahead. Are you ready for this? And made you get an analog converter, or digital to analog to digital converter. Which, hello Higgins. Higgins would know where to get one new, but the ultimate prepper's tool, they discontinued because they wanted to track you. They want to track you on your phone. Higgins, quit freaking deleting and retracting your messages. Now, you're wondering, what is the ultimate prepper's tool? Well, if they can track your email through Prism, then you know damn good and well they're going to track yourself on stuff, right? They wanted you not to be able to use and to force you. Some say it was a battery issue. Others say it was just the companies wanted more money for greed. And what happens? They discontinued this. Motorola's like, why do we need to make one of these when every phone can do it better? This is a phone, people. Look at this. The 5-watt Motorola bag phone. The M900, the M800 was the same. SIM card, all you needed. 3G, but no, they discontinued 3G because they didn't want you having it. Where's the SIM card go again? Oh, right here. SIM card is right there, US wireless. Paid for a month, it didn't work. They looked into it and says, oh, this phone's discontinued. See? It's got the plug and everything. You can't even use it for 911 calls, see? Can't even activate it. 5 watts of power, more wattage than these. These phones can go a long ways to the towers because there's too many towers in the world, too many boosters. But this, oh, we do not want you to have one of these anymore because business users took these out, mounted them in their cars, used them. You see, back in the day, satellite phones, they figured for rural country bumpkin life, and you needed something that can help you, all you needed was your bag phone. See, look at this. Hello, hello, hello. Instead, they took that away. Why? Because the government wants to control you. Without a phone like this that's analog, they couldn't track you. They'd have to have 3 to 6 minute triangulation. And if you're not on the phone for 3 to 6 minutes or you're in your car, all you got to do is end call, push a button and go to hand speaker, whatever. But no, the old phones were the phones built into the hand. Instead, some people wanted separate, you see? So what did they do? They took away your abilities to have ultimate prepping gear. Now it's discontinued. People paid thousands of dollars for these. Thousands of dollars. And one day they're just like, whoops, we're not doing it. We're not, Anyone have any questions so far? No? See, the government doesn't want you to prep because every time you prep, they turn around for something else. By the way, just remember what I said. The government has a law that can take your food under emergency pretenses. They could take your food. They can take your first aid kit. They can commandeer your car. They can take your food, your your batteries. They can take anything they think will help them in an emergency situation. So, with that said, everyone, my friends, me and Higgins is working on radio project, trying to find a portable TV for prepping. And now I gotta find an analog to digital converter, which I will check on Amazon real quick. So, any questions, please ask him now because frankly, I've been here for almost 3 hours and I'm tired. I should have been here for an hour, but old man Higgins, he was sleeping. So, old man Higgins, call me if he wishes. I want to get back to my game, anyways. So, let's check Amazon just for an animal. Here we go. So apparently they're only like $25. I guess some people still have those old TVs that can be used. I'll put this down in the prepping tools for you preppers that still have the ancient TVs like I do. And then can't believe Amazon is a good shop once you start pulling this out. Wow. Higgins can look at these to see which one would be perfect for me because Higgins is awesome. He knows once he goes into the preppers list, they'll be there. Reason I put this as the preppers list, as long as you have power and you're not losing power, this is where you would keep that as an additional preppers tool in case something does happen. Then you just fire up the generator for an hour, plug your TV into it, or your generators into this, and then run your little TV on battery, and you can run to that to get your digital conversion, see? But that's if you want to waste your generator for that. I personally think, well, why not? And I need a digital antenna, an indoor antenna. See, this just is the converter. Then you got to buy the digital over the air antenna, which is another prepper's tool that we should add. The best sellers, only $30. No shit. Buy a converter box or two and then one of these. Yeah, look at these. These tools right here would be perfect for TV. Yeah. All right, so I think I got everything we needed for over the air. I wonder if you could use one of those TV boosters. I'll show if Higgins can look at that too. So apparently this is like an antenna booster, maybe? ABC. Yeah, all right. We'll test this out. If it's $30, this could basically save us some time. But Higgins probably already got one of these, so but for preppers like me, this would come in handy for over the counter, which means as long as you got it working, you can basically set up a command center with televisions and you can use your older TVs if you still have one, like I have 3, 4, 5, 6, then you just need to get a cable splitter, which a splitter would be perfect. I wonder how you split that into into. Yeah, that'd be interesting to know. Cable splitter. Higgins, do you have any idea? I remember the old splitters. We just put one cable and it splits out the cable to 4 different TVs from one little cable splitter. But back in the day, when you were basically running around doing cable repairs, or some people asked us to install their cable, I mean, my father-in-law would do it, but we'd go down to the store and buy a splitter, and then the splitter would turn around and split the cable 4 ways or 8 ways in a little box, and then all we did was ran it to wherever they wanted their house is and take care of it. Whereas nowadays, look, I'm looking for myself, Higgins. I don't see you being generous to mail me 4 or 5 of them. I was going to build a command center in the back for listening to the radio and monitoring stuff in case a crap hits the fan. So, anyways, so there you have it. We got the digital converter boxes as a tool that's for prepping. That's in case you want to go if you have an old TV. Um, I need to find an adapter. I can't find. Oh, here we go. FC72. That's it. An FC72. Let me see if I can find it. That's it. $7. Wow. Huh. It's been so long. I've been looking for that. I've been looking for that for a long time, people. Makes me happy knowing I found it again. You see, with that device, you can hook up an NES or Super NES to run it. I used to play my games on my little TV. Of course, my mom wanted me to have a Game Boy. So, anyways, I don't want to be here too long because, like I said, it's 3 hours or coming to 3 hours, and I'm really tired. I want to get to my game. Higgins, you came too late. So, what happened? Yeah, I need a. What I'm trying to think about doing is getting a digital box, right? Building a command center, cleaning the office up, making my food prep command center with the desks. I'll figure out what to do with everything else. Get this place clean, right? And then set up a command center, right? Set up a command center where my computers are in one room and the scanner radios are in the same room, and it's running uh, it's running, right? And then what I want to do is split the cable, the digital cable or the digital antenna, the antenna, split it somehow, right? The cable goes into the digital converter box, right? And find a way for the digital converter box to be split. So you use one converter box and you split it onto all the TVs or something, because I don't want to buy multiple TVs for it, but I can. Thing is, I need the right adapters to hook them all up. So I can basically probably take one digital converter box, stack up 4 or 5 of them, and use the old TVs until they go kapooper. I said, did I miss anything? And Higgies, that's his name, Higgies, he says, miss what? Is the list completes what I mean? Just email me, all right, people? There's 3 people, and only Higgins is commenting. I'm tired, okay? Higgins, my phone's up and running. I will give you a ring, okay? So, if you want it, just email me first, okay? In the meantime, people, I ain't reading all this crap. All right, let me look. Higgins emailed me. So basically, I just want to log out, peeps. My game's calling. So yeah, no, not like that. I'm looking for something else. Let me show you. I can probably find it. Like this. Is this as big as they get, or you can do it more? Oh yes, yes, you can do more than that. Yeah, 4-pack too. This is what I'm talking about, Higgins. See, used to know this better than most people. I'm just gonna reply to this like this. All right. So, everyone, I've done enough talking about prepping tonight. I want to get to my game. So, I want to say to you all, Higgins, I'll call you if you wish. The rest of you, I got to get Chloe to do her chores before it's too late. So, she won't do chores if I'm on YouTube. So, there's got to be a balance somewhere, right? So, that said, everyone, I want to say to my subscribers listening, you're awesome. Today's the anniversary of the death of my husband. 6 years he's been gone today. I miss him dearly. Now, for the rest of you, stay tuned for another video prepping. I'm going to start breaking down the list. One subject a day on the list. On the list. Now, you already know the basics. Food, water, shelter. Everything else is luxury. We're going to break down the foods, why we recommend foods between canned and dry, and etc. In the coming weeks. We're going to explain why you need to stockpile this stuff and not other things. But you can also choose to listen or you don't have to. We're just here to show you the way if you want to follow or not. It's up to you. So, I'm ready to log off, people. Zoe ain't here. Chloe needs to do her chores. I want a game. So, Higgins, I'll call you if you wish. The rest of you out there, please unsubscribe. Please post comments. Please leave feedback, suggestions. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the likes button. Hit the thumbs up button. It all helps the YouTube algorithm. Please leave the comments nice is all we ask. Please, please, please give a thumbs up. Thanks everyone for watching. God bless you in everything you do. Prep as your life and your family's life depends on it. God bless you all and good night.